Patterson here with Boomerocity, and I've got a little bit different kind of interview for you this episode. Um, I don't usually veer off the track of music very often, and I'm not doing it this time, but this is a new song come out by a very new artist. Her name is Hoxie Rae, and I heard this song when the publicist sent to me, and I immediately loved it. I loved the title of it. It's called Heal. And, but it kind of reminded me of conversations I've had with lots of other people, and even an interview I did a couple years ago with Jillian Turecki, the relationship coach, if you will. And, especially when you're in this age group like we are, most of us are, a baby boomer generation, we've lived a lot of life, and a lot of us may have a lot of baggage. We've made a lot of mistakes. We've endured a lot of pain and hurt and suffering and wrong and all those kinds of things, and it impacts us. And when I heard Hoxie's song, Heal, I knew I had to talk to her because I knew this young woman, and she is young. She's out of our demographic, but she's an old soul, as you'll hear. I knew she had a great story to tell, so I wanted to interview her, and we set it up. Now, what you're about to watch, is our second pass, because the first time we tried it, internet or Zoom or something fouled up on my end, and it just dropped us. And so I didn't want to let it go at that. I wanted to start over on it, and so we set up another call, and that is what you're about to watch. Hoxie is a great young lady. Got her head on straight. She is all about learning from life, and I think you'll sense that in this interview, as well as in this song that you'll hear. If you can't see the songs in the descriptions below, I would encourage you to go to the website where I'll have this interview embedded, as well as the music video for this song, Heal. And while you're at it, if you don't mind, would you go ahead and hit like if you enjoy the interview or the song, or talking about the song. And if you're not already a subscriber to Boomerocity, I'm not going to charge you for it. Just hit subscribe, and that helps us out a lot. And please share this song and this interview with your friends, both those who would like this style of song and maybe those who are going through some stuff, the life stuff that's hard to get through sometime. I think this song will be very beneficial to them, if not to yourself. So without any further ado, here is my first of what I really do hope are many more interviews to come with Hoxie Rae. Until next time, this is Randy Patterson with Boomerocity. Take care.
Hello.
Hello there. Who are you? Let's see if my if you were my age, I could give you a pop culture reference of what it's like here sometimes where I live. Are you familiar with the old TV show Green Acres? Did you? Yeah, you're old enough. You're probably old enough to be my granddaughter. So
No way. No, but you know what's frustrating to me is I'm like, but I am your age. I'm like, of course I'm gonna know. But I guess I swear at heart, I am really I really have been. I forgot how old you said you were because age is just so irrelevant, like I was saying. But I've really have felt like I've been 65 since I was 8 years old, if that makes sense.
You're an old soul then, right?
Mentally, so, yeah.
Yeah. Well, there was an old TV show. I'm sure you can find it on one of those nostalgia channels on cable somewhere. It's called Green Acres. Had Eddie Albert and Zsa Zsa Gabor of the Gabor sisters. And this show came out in the 60s, like late 60s. So, and he was a New York City attorney who moved to the country. He wanted to become a farmer, and he was just so out of his element. He would dress up in a suit to go plow the fields and all that. But his telephone service was not in his house. He had to go through a closet door, his closet that had no exterior walls. So he'd go through his closet to go outside, and he had to climb up a telephone pole to make a phone call. and it's just so absurd. But there's just a lot of weirdness about it, kind of quirky and all that kind of thing. Well, internet wise, that's how I feel here sometimes. That it's
I
high
get it.
speed, but when
Yeah.
it fails miserably.
Yeah.
So
No, I get
so
it. I
anyway,
get it.
and I'll
I'm glad we're
explain too. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, no, I'm just saying I'm glad we're here. I'll have to check out that show. I do want to see it.
Yeah, well, you'll think God they used to laugh at this, but anyway, I will explain to viewers why we're saying all this stuff before I put the intro in, so this conversation will make sense to them when they come on.
Okay.
But I'm glad you had the time to be able to give this a second try. So far, everything seems to be working. I did some tests, everything works fine. So we will just start all over as if we haven't spoken before, and I'll ask you the same questions as I did last night or yesterday afternoon.
Hi.
And first of all, where are you clicking it from today?
Well,
Are you in
today
the same place?
I am, yes. Today I'm still on Long Island for today. And next week who knows, but for today I'm on Long Island and I like to kind of stick in and around the city.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I know a lot of people there, publicists and artists and that kind of thing. And Long Island, I believe there's two or three people I know there that, in fact, one of them's Ricky Byrd, who was with Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. He was a Rock and
Oh
Roll
wow.
Hall of Famer. He lives there on Long Island. He and his wife's a very well-renowned publicist, and I've done a lot of work with both of them. So you're in good company there. I've never been to Long Island. I've been to New York City 3 or 4 times, but I've never been to Long Island. So I need to go cruise it sometime just so I can have some mental bearing as to what your environment is there and how big it is and all that kind of thing. So,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think the city's definitely a little bit more my speed in terms of, the culture there. But Long
mhm.
Island's beautiful because of the water. I was
Yep,
traveling for like 2 years, just kind of living out of my car and going different places, and I really missed being around the water. And yeah, that's
yep.
so it's nice to kind of have that option, just being close to the city and stuff.
Now, like I said, I've only been to New York a very few times. So, is Coney Island? Where's Coney Island to Long Island? Is it part of
Ah,
Long Island or is it a
no, no,
separate
no. Coney
thing?
Island's city city vibes. It's
Hmm.
about so even when I was living in the city, I went to Coney Island a couple times and it's always such a far train ride, but it is in Queens. And oh God, if I'm wrong about I could be wrong. I always genuinely feel like I'm always wrong about New York. I'm like someone's hearing me somewhere and I'm wrong, but Coney Island's definitely not part of Long Island. It is in Queens and it's incredible. I have you ever been?
No, I drove by it on the way to JFK Airport. I think the guy that was driving me from outside of Philly up to there. I was on my way to Switzerland. We drove by, and I forget very vague memories. It was in 1989, but I remember seeing the rides and all that. And I
Mhm.
thought, so that's it from how everybody talks about. In fact, another Long Island tie there is I lived in Dallas for 20 years, and in addition to my day job in the telecom industry, I designed and sold swimming pools part
Oh,
time.
cool.
And one of the companies I sold for, the owners were from Long Island, and
Oh, that's cool.
just wonderful people, the Presleckis, and dear friends of mine, and wonderful, just one of the best people in that business. And I haven't sold for him in a lot of years, but we maintain contact and all that. But to talk to him, you'd swear he just moved from Long Island to Dallas yesterday. Yeah, he still
That's
has
funny.
the accent and all that.
Yeah.
But hey, I'm glad you're able to join me on this. And the reason why we're doing this is when John sent me the link to your single and all that, I thought, wow. Normally I like to talk to people when they have an album coming out and all that, but the song that you released really resonated with me. For one reason, because we all endure crises in one way or another in our lives. And, when you get as old as I am, you have quite a few that you can point to and say, yeah, I learned this from that. But I felt like, first of all, I could look back and say, gosh, I wish I heard that song back then when I was going through certain things. Very, very helpful. But I also wanted to talk to you because I know there are others who are going through things that could benefit from your story and this song. So people listening are going to say, all right, well, shut up, Randy. What's the song about? Tell us about your song.
Well, thank you so much. It really, honestly, I was hesitant I wasn't sure what I was going to do with the song. I just wanted to write it and get it out. So it means a lot to me to hear that it resonates with you. The whole point of writing it was to make myself feel better. Um, if I'm honest, there were just a series of events that I kept flashing back to, and I just felt like it was all my fault. I would internalize a lot of other people's behavior and the way that I was treated. I felt like if I just did this, if I just said that, if I just did the right thing, right? Like they would like me, everything would be okay again. Um, and what I realized was like, it's not anything to do with me. There actually is nothing that I could have done right or wrong in most scenarios where I've had conflict with people. And to I'm working on it, but I've been a people pleaser for most of my life. So, to have conflict with anyone has always been debilitating for me, honestly. And I think
Mm-hmm.
what happened was after, a series of events happened, it was very hard for me to kind of look at the same relationships and the way that I was and keep internalizing it. I don't know what happened. I think one day I just realize like I'm going to sit in silence and I'm going to sit around and blame myself for something that has nothing to do with me. And that within itself was such a foreign concept to me. Like I had always blamed myself and um thought that I had the power to change that. And it's freeing knowing that I can't. I cannot change other people. I can't fix their mistakes. I can't make them treat other people differently. It has nothing to do with me. And that's really what this song is all about. It's just like letting it go and separating yourself from whatever mess you were just in. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Meaning my mess, but for anyone, I think that was really the main goal.
Did you find that you were running interference for those that were, we'll use a very light word to describe them, misbehaving, whether they were being narcissistic or verbally or emotionally abusive or, whatever conflict they were the root cause of? Did you
Yeah,
find that you were running interference between them and others, making excuses, protecting, that kind of thing?
definitely. I mean, I have to say this was actually the best of luck, and this song specifically were the first pieces of music that I wrote where I felt like I wasn't protecting anyone anymore. I think the hardest thing about, I'll say it, the hardest thing about having relationships with narcissists and emotionally abusive people, it's very easy to minimize and want to protect them even still because the love was so strong for me. And I say that I say narcissism and emotional abuse because it's just been a pattern throughout my entire life. There's no specific person that I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's been too many people, if I'm being honest. Like it's run its course in my life, and it was hard for me to accept the fact that these people are no longer in my life and I'm still hurting from it, but I don't know how to say it without pointing a spotlight on them. I don't like to cast people as much as I want to, as much as I would love to just like, you know, say this person did that and this and that. It doesn't matter because I really believe that my problems are not unique. I think a lot of people go through very similar issues, just different contexts of
Mm-hmm.
emotional abuse, of dealing with narcissism, all of that. Um, it's hard. It's been a journey for me. I'm still learning, honestly. And I think this was really, truly my first step in not protecting them and focusing on myself and my own healing. And it's pretty light, right? Like I think it's just very focused around healing.
Hmm.
But underneath that, there was a ton of, anger and like rage that I had to move through in order to get there to have that peace.
Hmm.
And I'm still learning. I am still learning. And I think it's a balance about, do I want to, what do I want to do with my words? What do I want to do with my voice? And for me, it's really about it's about the collective. I think a lot of people like don't necessarily understand or know emotional abuse when it's happening, especially
Hmm.
since it happens over time. It's not something that it can happen immediately. Of course, it's happened, but from my experience, I mean, we're talking years and years and years of just slowly eroding at my self-esteem. And, over time, you start to really second guess your intuition, your
Hmm.
decisions. I mean, I'm really relating to myself. Um, it's a very hard pattern to break out of, and I'm still kind of finding my way, but this was a start for me, and I'm really glad that I can say that without feeling any shame or embarrassment about the art that I put out because I was petrified of having those feelings, if I'm being honest.
Before I ask you the next question, one thing I will, as an older person and has the scars to prove it, one thing that might happen as you have these kind of songs coming out, and I think you're being very wise and gracious in identifying that you're not singling out anybody. Now, when you're singing them or when you were recording it, there might have been one or two that were very specific, but you're being very gracious and not singling out any one particular person. And that said, if those people ever hear the songs or hear your story, even come across this interview, let's say, they may come back and want to relitigate things. And I would just encourage you not to get in the ring because what they're not wanting to resolve anything. They
Yeah.
want to recalibrate you. They want to reprogram you again so they feel better about their actions so they can feel like they were justified or whatever. Just say, hey, look, I'm all about respect. I want to respect you, but I require respect in return. And I don't feel like this is going to generate that between us. So, you know, I wish you the best and just let it go. And that's the hard part because I don't know if you're this way, but the way I used to be really bad at was being a one who wanted to correct the record because
Mhm.
something was being said untrue or something was being misinterpreted. And I would give it, now I'll give it a try if somebody's twisting my words around. But if I see that they're having none of that and don't want to get to a level of truth, I'm not going to argue it with them. They can say I'm the devil incarnate, and I really don't care. I don't
Mhm.
care. And there's something
Yeah.
very liberating about that. Not narcissistic. I'll be the
No.
first to say I want to hear if I'm wrong about something because I don't want to be wrong, but I'm not going to hold on to wrong to be right. You know what I mean? So,
Exactly. Completely. Completely.
but so what led you? I said all that to say this. What led you to viewing um, music? Writing, creating, recording, um, to channel lessons learned in your process and your journey. What made you feel like, hey, this is a very good and productive way of it, which I agree with. I think this song is, if it's any indication, you definitely are hitting the nail on the head there. But what led you to that conclusion?
Thank you. That that means a lot, and I really want to thank you for your advice too. I think that just going back to that, I just have to say, like, it's been very hard for me to accept the fact that I've had a very different reality from some of the people that I've had to let go of, and that has been the hardest thing for me. It's letting go of whatever their opinions are, letting go of their reality because their reality did not match mine. That's the consistent pattern that I noticed when I look back on, these very prominent relationships in my life. It always ended up in distorted reality. We could not meet because, they're too concerned about the way they're perceived or, whatever it is. It's just, I'm very much like, if I messed up, I want to talk about it. I want to work through it. And unfortunately, for people that are emotionally abusive, I'm not sure how else to say it. It's very easy for them to kind of just blame you and trigger your mind into thinking that, it's all your fault and your reality is not real. Their reality is real and yours is not. And I think I've had a lot of strength in being quiet. I wrote this song a year and a half ago. So I held on to it. I wasn't sure what to do with it. I just wanted to get it out and let it go. I think what happened with my music was I started writing really like heavily in 2020, but I realized how angry I was. I was so mad. Like I was so mad. The music was not enough. Like I could sing from the top of my lungs. It's not enough. The rage inside of me was burning,
Mhm.
and it in a process to personal relationships that I'm talking about, honestly, and make it relatable for myself so that I don't repeat the same mistakes and hopefully for other people who might be going through the same thing. Um, really like a natural thing for me. I actually think that I tried really hard to ignore my story, if that makes sense. I think I was
Mhm.
trying really hard to put a little bow on it and pretend that, I'm all good and it's okay and these things are normal. But at the end of the day, emotional abuse and, narcissistic relationships are nothing, it's not normal. I don't even know what
No.
normal is, but I know for sure those are not the standard in terms of, relationships that I've had as an adult. And I think kind of the beauty in all of it is that I'm kind of moving with everyone that's listening with me, that wants to listen with me and learn with me, because I mean, I'm talking about a lifetime of conditioning and gaslighting and
Mhm.
um things that I didn't understand until I was completely separated from that type of energy. I needed to be
Yeah.
completely alone. And I think that's the beauty of getting older. You get to have that freedom and you get to have that autonomy. I had never had that before. I didn't believe that I could have that, if that makes sense. I didn't trust
Mhm.
myself to have that. So now that I have it and I'm growing, I'm like, okay, well, what's next? Like, what can I learn next? And how can I make it better? How can I help more? Because this is not just about me. This is it's so common. It makes me like I could, I don't know what I could do, but it's just too common. And people tend to
It
really
is.
brush it off like it's no big deal. And it is.
Well, I think a couple things to add to what you're saying, and speaking as the older generation, I told my daughter this um, years ago that I said, our generation has raised a generation of narcissists, broadly speaking, because, I'm a baby boomer. So my parents were born at the tail end of the Depression and at the beginning of World War II. Okay.
Hmm.
They were raised on the farm, very dire conditions. They didn't want their kids to have it as bad as they did, so they provided better, made it easier for our generation. We turn around, we're programmed to do the same thing. We turn around and we raise others that, I mean, there's more technology, more conveniences. And I told my daughter, I said, your generation will be the first generation that will pull the plug on their parents out of convenience rather than out of compassion. I said, because you don't want to be bothered, you don't want to be inconvenienced. We've made you right all the time when you really weren't. And I'm talking in very, very, very broad terms. We've cheapened life, you know. But what has transpired is in my cases, people will literally not remember things the way they were. They've programmed themselves so much, and it sounds like that's what you've run into. I had an experience several years ago where I'll be very, very general because if they hear this, they'll know I'm talking about them. But there was somebody that I had a good working relationship with, let's say, and we had this agreement that we would not talk about a certain subject because we were on opposite sides of that.
Hmm.
And then something happened where in on social media they went very, very public on it.
Hmm.
And it was done in such a way, and I know this won't make sense to you because I'm being overly vague, but it was done in such a way that it would have impacted me and my work
Hmm.
because of, guilt by association, however you want to call it. And we just, without a big fight, there was an exchange, calm exchange of words between us in the silence of things. But we just parted ways without a big, you know, farewell or anything like that. We just quit talking to each other
Hmm.
for about 2 years.
Hmm.
And I missed that companionship. So after 2 years, I reached out, said, let's mend fences, but we need to talk about some things. Because it was that whole thing I was saying earlier about respect. I want to respect you, but I deserve respect too. So
Hmm.
we sat down over lunch. I laid everything out how I remembered it. And that person remembered it completely different, almost polar opposite, negative opposite, however you want to put it. And I said, well, but I had one thing going for me. He knew that my memory was pretty ironclad on stuff, and he always used to brag on me about that.
Hmm.
So he goes, look, I'm not going to call you a liar. I don't remember it that way, but if you're
Right.
saying that, it must have been, I'm sorry. That's
Hmm.
all that was needed. We didn't change each other's minds about anything, but we were sorry about how we impacted each other.
Right. Of
That was a
course.
good outcome. We're good friends now. We get together regularly for
Great.
lunch and catch up on things regularly. But all that to say that's probably a rare. This is somebody older than me too, so we're talking different generations, different backgrounds. But I think to your point, to be able to recognize what buttons you have and how others have been pushing those buttons is a big revelation, a big liberating, even though you don't have it all worked out and you don't have all the healing taking place,
Hmm.
knowing what the issue was, finding out what's making you sick so you can know how to treat it is huge.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
it sets
definitely.
your expectations. And I think a song like you've done here, I think it's going to open some doors for you that you might be pleasantly surprised about as far as your message, who your audience winds up being, and getting with people that are on a similar journey.
Thank you. I really appreciate that sentiment. I really do. I have
Well,
I think the hardest thing for me in all of this is, just like you were saying, being able to humble myself in the way that I have been disrespected, but there's no way to counteract that. It just is what it is. There's no um revenge. There's nothing there. There's nothing left there. It's like a hole. It's like kind of like you were saying with your friend, right? Like after you feel like you've been slighted and then you feel like the person is almost gaslighting you into being slighted. I don't know your situation, but I can only imagine maybe something like that, right?
mhm,
Um, really taking that step back and letting them have their piece and you can have yours. And I think
mhm,
that has been my saving grace. Like I have my truth to tell. You can tell your truth too. That's fine. But they are no longer in my life because our realities not only did they not align, but the constant neglect of self-reflection became too apparent. I mean, especially as an adult. I mean, it's mind-boggling to kind of watch a full grown up, right? Like whatever that means. But as long as you're talking and walking and writing, like you're doing the thing, right? And I don't understand the lack of self-awareness with some people. And I think that it took me to a very dark place because I blamed myself for that, but I don't blame myself anymore. And I'm
Hmm.
excited. Like I am really hopeful, but at the end of the day, I did this to heal, myself. And I am fully focused on continuing to do that. And hopefully through that, I can reach other people that can heal with me too. That's really the main goal.
One, I'm going to recommend a book that I have not finished reading yet,
Okay.
but I'm in the process.
Okay.
I read it when I know that I can really fully digest what I'm reading because it's a very easy book to read, but the truths in it so far,
Mhm.
and I reserve the right to change my mind as I read it, but I've heard nothing but great things about. The name of the book is called Let Them.
Ooh, I love that. Who's it by? Do you know?
Um, I don't have it in
That's
front of me,
okay.
but
I'll look it
if you
up.
go
I'll
onto
look it
Amazon and just go to
I'll
the
look it
book
up.
section and put
Yeah,
in Let Them, it'll come up
for sure.
because it basically validates some of the things I just said to you. I mean, especially after my divorce and such, there was a lot of things being said about me, and it
Hmm.
upset me because I knew they weren't true, and on and on. Finally, I just had to let go because
Yeah.
an aunt of mine told me, Randy, you can't control everybody's opinions,
Yeah. Yep.
and that it's I knew that conceptually, but to hear it at that particular time was I just had to let it go. And I took a lot of comfort. I had people come up to me, you know what so and so said about you? I heard it and I go, that's the best they can do. Heck, I can say something better than that. And I made a
Right.
joke of it. And again, very, very liberating. But, I guess part of what I'm saying too is before we can take those kind of steps, we got to learn to respect ourselves if we
Totally.
expect anyone
Definitely.
else to respect us.
Yeah.
If we're
Hmm.
not respecting ourselves, then people think we're fair game and they can disrespect us as they wish. And so
Yeah.
our self-talk, our self-criticisms, I'm my own worst critic, and I
Yeah.
can be pretty brutal
Hmm.
about it. And thankfully, I have people in my life that call me out on that now.
Hmm.
And, sometimes I'm just trying to be funny, but sometimes that joke can go too far, even on me when it's on me, just like it
Yeah.
can be if you're teasing someone else. Sometimes it can be a little hurtful. Well, it's the same with our self-talk. And so, but that Let Them book, so far what I'm reading there, I wish I'd had that 12 years ago. it's
Cool.
it's
I
a
will definitely
very,
check it
very
out.
good book. And she has
Thank
another book. It's a female author. I wish I could remember her name. She's on podcasts. She's does a lot of corporate speaking, a lot of speaking tours, and all. She's a big deal. I should remember her name, but she had another book that came out before that. But apparently, she's got a lot of product out now and all that kind of thing. But Let Them is the book you want to start with, in my opinion.
Is it Mel Robbins? Is that who you're thinking of?
Yes, I think
Couldn't
that
help it. I
is.
just need to Google it really quick. I've
Yeah,
heard
let
great
me
things
let me
about.
let me verify that because I can go into where I
Oh, that's okay. I didn't
purchased.
mean to. I didn't
No,
mean
no, no.
to put that.
This is
I got
mutually
excited.
beneficial here.
I love a good book. I really do. I mean, I feel like
Oh,
these
I do
books,
too.
the books that I've read have kind of saved me over the years, honestly.
Oh yeah, yeah. They're gosh, where's I think this is it. No, it's not showing me. Where did I know I bought it from Amazon, but it's not showing up on my orders here right now. But yeah, let me look one more time. I'll edit this part out because it's very unprofessional of me, but I think we're two people just enjoying the conversation and helping each other out here. Golly,
Yeah, thank you. I'm
where
gonna
is it?
check it out.
Shopping category, buy again. There, I'll try that angle. Oh, golly, I bought it from Amazon. That's what's crazy. It should be like at the top of the list, and it's just
Oh,
not.
it's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
But Mel Robbins, I think that's her name, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
heard
So
great things about her. Yeah, that's great.
yeah,
I'll
and
definitely check it out.
I think you can even buy like a workbook to go along with it. I did not do that, but
Cool.
it's very, very good. And I think it'll be beneficial to you at this point of your journey. So,
Thank you. Thank you very much.
so
I'll definitely.
what feedback are you getting on the song?
It's been really positive, honestly. I'm really, really grateful that I, it's weird. You don't know what to expect. I didn't know what to expect from any of it, but it's been very, very positive, and I feel really, really supported right now. And I'm just excited to continue on my journey. Um, like I said, I wasn't even totally sure what I would do with this song. It was a moment in time. I needed it, and I'm glad that it's been so positive, and I can only hope that it can help a couple. I think maybe it helped you. It sounds like so. That's enough for me, you know?
It's
I mean, I think it's
validating, you know?
good. Yeah. I think it's really just about I really want to be a a helping hand for other people that are going through it. And I think it's really just the beginning, but it is a strong beginning in terms of my messaging and what I'm trying to accomplish to empower people and to help them walk away from toxic situations. So it's been really great. I think people have opened up to me in a new way just because I've opened up to them. And I'm looking forward to continuing on with that kind of relationship. It's
Well,
exciting.
good. Very good.
Thanks.
I uh I look forward to hearing a lot more of these kinds of songs. I'm going to follow your journey moving forward, and
Thank you.
as you know, maybe I mean, we won't do every song you come out with, but if you get closer to like an EP or something, or
Yep.
another mile marker in your career here in songwriting and recording, let's talk again and have these conversations and catch up on the journey that you're undergoing. But you're on the right
Thank
track, and I think you're. I think part of healing is when you're helping others, and that's what you're doing with this song. And so,
thank you.
and like I told you before, I wanted to help get the word out. I think
Thank you.
I would bet good money on it. You're going to have a stack of stories to share the next time we talk of what others are saying to you and how you putting your story out there in song and in conversation. I have a feeling there's going to be some pretty cool stories you'll be sharing.
Thank you very much. It really means a lot to me. And I really just want to thank you for your time and for your honesty and openness. I have to say, well, I do really believe that age is irrelevant for real. I
Hmm.
do. But I think the most heartbreaking thing for me, as a young adult, as an adult, is seeing people that are older than me, much older than me sometimes, react in such a childish way. And I think
They're called
I'm scared.
politicians.
Ah, true. Well, as a kid, you don't always expect for that to happen, right? Like you look at
Yeah.
people that are older than you and you go, they have it all together. And as you get older, it's like, oh my God, I don't know. And I just think it's really cool that you shared that story with me. And I just want to like, commend you, congratulate you on your growth because I think it's really, really hard to be at peace with a messy situation and let people say what they want and you go about your life and you have that peace and it's too valuable to take away. Like once you have that and once you're okay with your own journey, I think that's the most freeing thing that you can do. And that's what I heard when you were telling me, just a little bit about your story. So I just want to thank you. It's really like refreshing for me
Well,
to
good.
to get to
I
talk to
appreciate
you.
you telling me
Yeah.
that. The main
Yeah.
thing is, no, we can't just be transparent and vulnerable to everybody because there's wolves out there,
Right.
unfortunately. But
Yeah.
and sometimes our picker is wrong. It needs to be calibrated, picking who we allow close to us. And I've made a
Mm-hmm.
lot of mistakes in that. I mean, a lot. I'm
Me
embarrassed the
too.
number of mistakes I made in that
No, no,
area. However,
no.
once I learn a lesson, look out because and so then you then learn when to be transparent, when to be vulnerable, and with whom. And that's a huge, huge, valuable lesson. If you can learn it at where you're at now, it's going to save you decades of heartache. It really will.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
definitely. Thank you. I've had
but
someone say that to me too. And I think the hardest part about making those connections where you look back and you're like, oh my God, why did I trust that person? It's like, it's not your fault. It's not my fault that I trust people too easily. It's a learning lesson to have discernment, right? Like we all need
yeah,
to,
it is.
it's a journey of growth. So
That's right.
yeah,
That's right.
hopefully
I,
it'll be
I
less and less.
I call it building a database of personality types. And I can, when I see somebody act one way, I go, oh, that reminds me of so-so. I know what to do then. Sometimes it's good.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Mhm.
it's just total
Exactly.
avoidance, you know?
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, exactly.
well, Hoxie, this is a lot of fun. I'm glad we
Thank
finally
you.
had some good connection here,
Me too.
internet wise, as well as in conversation. So, I will
Yes.
let you know when this posts. If it's not next week, it'll be the following week. It
Okay.
depends on what I get done this weekend. I do my own editing and such, but it will
Okay.
go out there and I will promote it and just keep doing the good work you're doing. I have all the confidence in the world that you're going to do some amazing stuff. So,
Thank you. You're gonna make me cry, honestly. I really want to thank you.
oh,
This is
it's good tears. Go enjoy those
yes.
good tears.
No, all good tears. I really just want to thank you for your time and I really hope to see you soon. I'm working on an EP, so I'll be in touch. I would love to continue on with the conversation and letting you know about my journey and you can tell me about yours. I love
Oh,
this. It's fun.
absolutely. I look
Yeah.
forward to it. We'll stay in touch.
Cool.
I promise
All
that.
right, cool.
Take care,
Thank you
Hoxie.
so much. Yes, have a great night.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.